Hey everybody, it's Dr. Prabakar, and this past weekend my practice had a booth at an art and wine festival in the city that I practice in, and it was really cool because I got to spend a lot of time with local women, talking to them, hearing about some of their stories, talking to them about my practice and GYN health and women's health. So it was a lot of fun, and I decided to make this video because there were a few themes that kept coming up over and over again. And so as people would walk by my booth, I would make eye contact and say, "Hey, are you looking for a gynecologist?" And some of the answers I got were kind of interesting. So some people said, "Oh, that ship has sailed." Some other women said, "Oh, I'm too old to see a gynecologist." Or somebody else said, "Oh, I'm done having kids." And so these are all not reasons to stop seeing the gynecologist. And so I decided to make this video and title it "The Top 3 Myths About Seeing a Gynecologist," about when to see a gynecologist. So number 1, I don't need to see the gynecologist because I don't need a PAP anymore. So that is false. That is a myth. So it is true that we stop PAP tests at 65 unless you have other risk factors for cervical cancer, but that does not mean you should stop seeing a gynecologist altogether. If you have female body parts, you should be seeing a gynecologist every year. Because the truth is, there are many things we discover later on into your 70s and 80s on your vulva or your cervix that you're not checking. And so a good thorough pelvic exam by a gynecologist is crucial. Okay, so definitely see a gynecologist every year, even if you're above 65. The second myth is, I don't need to see a gynecologist if I've already had a hysterectomy. This is also not true. So regardless of what kind of hysterectomy you had, whether you had your uterus plus the cervix or just the uterus removed, whether you had the ovaries removed, regardless, you should still be seeing a gynecologist every year because there are other things that come up. We discuss incontinence, urinary leakage, frequency of bowel movements, and even bowel incontinence. We discuss vaginal prolapse. We discuss lichen sclerosis, vaginal dryness. There's so many other things that I can keep going on and on about issues that come up in 70s, 80s that still need to be addressed by a gynecologist. Okay, so that's the second myth, that you don't need to see a gynecologist if you've had a hysterectomy. And the third myth is, I'm too old to see a gynecologist. This is absolutely not true. Again, for all the reasons we just discussed, there are plenty of issues that we are addressing for older women. And so that includes osteoporosis, hormone therapy for menopausal symptoms and even late menopausal symptoms. Actually, at the festival, I had somebody who was 66 who said, "I'm still having hot flashes," and my primary care doctor said that can't be. And I was like, well, that actually could be, and there are things you could do. Come and see me. And so there's a lot of things that come up. Okay, so you should be seeing a gynecologist every year. So I hope this was helpful for you. Again, the top 3 myths around seeing a gynecologist are: number 1, I don't need to see a gynecologist because I'm above 65. This is not true. Number 2, I don't need to see a gynecologist because I've already had a hysterectomy. This is not true. And number 3, I don't need to see a gynecologist because I'm too old. And that's also not true. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Please tag a friend who could also use this information, and comment below if you have any questions about this. Okay, have a great week, everybody. Bye.